but it also brings challenges internally, but also externally, like in all global organizations. We're talking about different time zones. We're talking about different languages. We're talking about different cultures. And on top of that, at CCL, it's like a mix of acquired companies and also like organically grown and set up companies that are part of the CCL clinical business unit. So that's also heritages you need to respect. So it's a lot of communication, stakeholder management that are all part of my role that I like, but that are also sometimes challenging.
Yeah, I don't think anybody really has faced change management until you've had to work with cultures around the world, because we all have reasons why we can or can't do certain things, and some of it is not entirely just based on the things that govern us. It's also our beliefs and the way that we act and things like that. So it's yes, I completely agree with the challenges there being some of the just global change management in general.
Yeah, I mean, like, in pharma and in clinical, everything is documented. You have everything written down, but it's a person behind that makes a difference internally, but also externally with our customers and partners. So that's the key.
Yeah, absolutely. What types of innovative projects are you currently working on?
So we really try to work on different angles. One key point for us at the beginning of our project is what we call a phrase library. So, like we discussed, we are involved in setting up the label design. And traditionally in the industry, it works like a new study once or starts. It is clear in which countries you go. And then you reaching out to specialized translation companies that also offer regulatory service. So you tell them, I need to go to these 7 countries. It is a cell and gene trial, it is a radioligand trial, whatever it is. So they would gather the requirements, they would do the translation and issue these information for us to build it into the booklet. But that's quite time consuming. So there is this idea of the phrase library, and it's not a new idea. It's around in the industry since a lot of years. It was just not really put into reality, like with a lot of nice ideas that flowing around everywhere. The idea here is that we have built up in the last 2 years a complete database that includes 200 of the main used phrases in clinical trials for the 40 most used languages, including the regulatory requirements of these 40 countries. So instead of starting from scratch when a new study starts, we now just go to our database and pull the data from it. So we have a permanently maintenance service that we do. Every time a regulation change or we get a feedback from a study that the wording needs to be different, we all put that in our database constantly. But like that, we ensure when we pull it out, when a study starts, within a few seconds, we have this information. So out of the total supply chain, we cut out 10 days, which is we're talking about a total time of 4 to 6 weeks for us supplying. So 10 days is a big, massive thing. So we validated that in October last year, I think. And we have now quite some customers that are auditing this process. And just last month, we got the first order placed for this service. So the industry is really happy that we're offering it. They see a huge benefit. So that is one of the big innovations we have done in the last 2 years, and that now we and our customers will benefit from. On the other hand, like mentioned on the material science, a lot of innovation is ongoing in the cold chain area, where we need more and more special materials. Also there, we have developed a whole portfolio from minus 20 degrees, but even going down to the minus 178 degrees Celsius for cryogenic applications that you also have. Obviously, that's a very small part of the market, but still you want these trials to happen. And if there is no label on the medication or it's falling down, then the trial will not happen or will be stopped. So it's a minor thing if you're looking on the total complexity of the study, but it's key that it works. And that is why we developed a big portfolio. And that's ongoing, like new therapies like radioligands, which are coming more and more. So they have it on the opposite. So in this radioligand process, you're going up to plus 80 degrees Celsius. So again, different requirements, and we need to find a solution.
Yeah.
And from the tech side, because we talked about IoT, I think the biggest thing we did is that we have changed a traditional printed label into an RFID-based label paired with an e-ink screen. So we will be able from next year onwards to have a kind of laptop in the study. It's a small e-ink based, like you know it from Kindle, for example, screen. So you can anywhere in the study at any time update information. Obviously, all GXP protected, a special software to it, but that allows you to do expiry updating, which is very difficult nowadays. That allows you to do study pooling, which is very difficult nowadays. So that was a long journey, that development, but we had input from some of the key pharma market players, which will also act as early adopters and what are planning already some studies for 2026. So that will be a big change for the industry, and we are happy to lead this change.
Excellent. How has your involvement with the International Society for Pharmaceutical Engineering influenced your work at CCL?
Well, I think I'm a member of ISP since 13, 15 years. In my opinion, it's a great association because it brings everyone on one table. So it's all the pharma companies are there, all the CMOs, all the CROs, academia is there, and also all functions are represented. So you have study planners there, you have IRT companies there, you have the regulatory persons there. So this is really a forum, and I think it's the only forum available in the clinical trial industry that brings everyone into one table. So it is very important for me to have an updated understanding of the industry, also to influence talks and discussions in the industry, and also creating my network. And obviously, all of these three things are also helping not only me personally, but also CCL Clinical. And that is why it is a very important part for me. And I'm relatively proud and honored that last year I've been asked to join the steering committee of ISPE for clinical trials in Europe. That's something you have to be asked for, and I was asked, and that shows that we have a good network there, and that helps me and also the company.
Very good. What's the greatest piece of leadership advice that you've ever received?
Yeah, I know you have that question in your podcast quite often, so I thought a little bit about it. I didn't found like one real advice that I could shoot out, but like before podcast, I read already a lot, and if you're looking into literature specific for the industry, but also outside the industry, already in the 19th century, Charles Dickens was the first guy who was writing a phrase which is called "never say never." And that is something I found out in my career that is absolutely true. You never know what happens tomorrow. So don't go with closed eyes, with closed mind. Say never, say never. It's more truth than ever. If you look on technology, things are possible today. We would never thought that are possible even a couple of years back. And the speed how they develop, it's incredible. But also if you look on geopolitics, on other things, things are happening, good things, bad things you would never thought about. So never say never, I think that's a very important one to keep in mind and to follow.
Absolutely, especially I mean, given kind of your background with Faubel as well, being an innovative company, I would think, never say never was probably, foundational belief as well, inside of the company. Just with the things that your team has interacted with and created. I mean, there's a lot that you're having to overcome in terms of temperature and materials and lots of other things as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So what inspires you?
I think it's a mix. Like I mentioned with the wheelchair example, it's really great to see when you can help. So in our case, when we can help to have studies successful, there are so many patients out there that still are looking for the real medications that helps them. So with an IC, we help clinical trials to go successful through the stages, to go quicker, and therefore coming quicker as go-to market and then helping patients. That's really great to see. It's often a long journey, so you need to mirror that for a lot of years to see, but that's great. I think that's one of the driver.